So to begin, I'm going to be talking about traditional Moroccan food versus the United States and how they portray Moroccan food. So on the left-hand side, we have Morocco. Moroccan food traditionally follows a vegetarian diet, meaning there's not a lot of meat incorporated into traditional meals. And if meat is incorporated, it's definitely not the main focus of the meal. And so some type of meats that they include into traditional dishes are beef, goat, chicken, lamb, mutton. And chicken is considered to be the poor meat because it's cheaper, and lamb is considered to be the rich meat because it's more expensive. So if you're poor, you would have more chicken, and if you're rich, you would have more lamb. However, they do not eat pork, and that is part of the Islamic religion, which is about 99% of Morocco. And they don't eat pork because it's out of respect for their god Allah. And they also figured out that there are a lot more diseases found in pork or pig, and it is not as healthy for the body as other meats such as chicken or lamb or things of that type. However, they do consume a large amount of seafood, and that is because they are located right near the Mediterranean Sea. So they really follow a Mediterranean diet. So some of the seafood that they consume are sardinella, mackerel, anchovy, and the list goes on. Now to go on to the main focus of traditional Moroccan dishes. They have a lot of vegetables, grains, and beans incorporated. And the number one grain that they incorporate is couscous. So you can see that with almost every single meal in traditional Morocco. And they cook it to the point where it's super light and fluffy and almost falls apart in your mouth. Another grain they incorporate is rice, and some beans or lentils and legumes, and some vegetables are eggplant, potato, carrots, parsnips, sweet potatoes, onions, garlic, pumpkin, squash. Just the list can go on and on. So that's overall the main focus of traditional Moroccan food. Now the thing is, because around the 1600s, African Americans were used as slaves and they weren't given their rights as a human, a lot of them were not educated. So as Morocco started to develop a lot, the whole Slavery Act kind of carried on over into times of now, how people are not well educated in that region. So if they're not well educated, the likelihood of them getting a well-paying job is very slim to low. So the fact that they're not well educated and they're not going to get that great of a job, and if they do, the pay or the income is not that high. So that is why if you will see that Moroccan food is a lot cheaper. The vegetables are a lot cheaper, and so they go for the cheapest amount. So Moroccan food, traditional Moroccan food, is not a lot of processed goods. It's a lot of wholesome, fresh things, and you'd think that'd be more expensive because if things are fresh and organic and local, in the US that usually means the prices are higher, but in Morocco it's not like that, considering most of their foods are organic and fresh and local. Now, something that they don't consume a lot of is dairy. So you won't see a lot of dairy in traditional Moroccan food like cheese or milk. However, one thing that they do consume, if it counts as dairy, is coconut milk. So that is incorporated into traditional Moroccan food. Another thing that they have with almost every single meal is bread, just like couscous. The bread is cooked at home, so no one really goes out to the store to buy bread. It's just part of traditional Morocco to make your own bread and have it and serve it with almost every meal. So overall, Moroccan and traditional Morocco food is very fresh, very rich in nutrients, and very organic, and vegetables are the main focus of a traditional meal. Now, moving over to the right side is the United States. So in the United States, we have made Moroccan food focus more on meat than we have vegetables. So in the US, meat is incorporated a lot more than vegetables are, where the vegetables are seen more of as a side dish in the United States more than the main focus of the dish. So that's one big difference. However, couscous is still very common in Moroccan dishes in the US, just as in traditional Morocco. It may not be served with every single meal as it would be in Morocco. However, in the US, they still incorporate it a lot. Now, moving on to vegetables. Since they're considered a side dish in the US, the vegetables aren't very rich in quality, rich in nutrients, and that's because in the US everything is mass produced. So the vegetables in the US have to travel thousands of miles before they get to stores or before people purchase them. So they're not going to be as fresh and wholesome as they would be in Morocco, where people go out every single day to buy exactly what they need and cook it right then and when they get home. So everything in Morocco is very fresh. But in the United States, everything's mass produced and kind of preserved so that over a couple days it'll still be able to be used and incorporated into foods. However, that does lead to a lack of nutrients and freshness and overall quality. So because of that, the vegetables are a lot less organic because in the US, organic is a lot more expensive than you would see it in Morocco. And the organic foods are not going to be common in the United States and Moroccan food, and that's just because it's a lot more expensive and it's not really in the budget. You know, in the US, the population is massive, so you want to be able to get a lot for your money's worth. So because the vegetables aren't very organic, they have to travel thousands of miles, and it's just overall not going to be very fresh, not really rich in nutrients, and overall not as good as it would be in traditional Morocco. Now moving on to meat, there's something called halal meat, and halal meat is basically, in traditional Morocco, what halal meat is, you bless the meat before you kill it or before you slaughter it, and it's just a way of blessing it and, you know, showing your respect again for their religion and for their God, Allah. So in the United States, that's not very common. You will not see a lot of halal meat, and that's just because it's the US. There's a bunch of different, you know, types of foods incorporated into different types of restaurants and things like that. So halal meat is just not as common because everyone in the US comes from a different background, so it's really seen as not as important as it would be in traditional Morocco. Now, because the United States has mass-produced practically all of their foods and almost everything, you know, a lot of the things aren't fresh. So in the US, the people have more of an eye for things that are fattier and, you know, maybe very greasy or deep fried or fried or anything that's very saturated in fat and oil. So traditional Moroccan food is the complete opposite. You'll rarely see fried foods and greasy foods. It's very wholesome. But in the US, you'll see a lot more greasy and foods drenched in oils, and that's just how it is because that's how the US and how people have gotten used to consuming their foods very unhealthily. So also in the US, there are a lot more options to eat non-healthy foods, where in traditional Morocco, everything is grown locally. You know, they don't have the money and they don't have the desire for such highly processed foods. But in the US, that's just how we've accustomed to our mass production, is that we just have an eye for those fatty and greasy foods, and because of that, there's a lot more selection for that. So we kind of lead more towards that. So overall, the main difference is that in traditional Morocco, the main focus of traditional food is vegetables, and they're very high in nutrients, very rich in quality. However, in the US, you know, meat is considered to be the main focus of dishes, and the fruits and the vegetables incorporated are not very rich in quality and rich in nutrients.